This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we have a trade extravaganza on the podcast. We'll be talking Bradley Beal. We'll be talking Kevin Love. And we'll be talking Kyle Lowry. Should, if, and could these teams possibly trade these players? All on today's podcast. And before we get on to all that, we're going to change up the whole intro. We're not going to push patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We are going to push Most Valuable Podcast Nerd, a new channel on YouTube. Instead of getting sports and nerd on this channel, Most Valuable Podcast, we migrated all the nerd content over to Most Valuable Podcast Nerd. So if you want to get movie reviews like the Lion King 2019 review, check out Rick and Johnny's on Most Valuable Podcast Nerd. If you want to check out Too Old to Game, where Rick and Dave check out the 2K ratings and Madden ratings for the upcoming games, check that out as well on Most Valuable Podcast Nerd. It is a great channel. You should subscribe and support us, because not only are you supporting us, you're also supporting then patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast and the possibility of getting rid of this eyesore, as Ricky says.
And maybe you'll show up on that channel once.
Yeah, we'll sneak
For the
Sean
first
in.
time ever, you'll be on the yellow brand instead of the black brand.
Oh, God, are we brands?
I like that. I like that a lot.
I do, too.
Just for the yellow brand, we just got to make sure we don't make t-shirts too early. But if I do, the yellow brand will be pretty sick. But like I was saying, on the announcement we made on this channel, you got to invite me. I don't know when you guys are recording. You got to invite me. All right? So
MVP Nerd is like the AEW. We're coming after you.
Yikes.
I was thinking more Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I was thinking too. Or NWO versus Wolfpack NWO.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because they traded. That was the first
That was
OG
weird,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was also badass. Anyways, let's
red
jump
and
into basketball talk. We're first going to open up, will the Wizards trade Bradley Beal? Some bum by the name of Adrian Wojnarowski, Report Something Sometime Kid, reported that Wizards general manager Tommy Shepard will offer guard Bradley Beal a 3-year, $111 million maximum contract extension upon the All-Star becoming eligible to sign on Friday, Shepard told ESPN. At the very first moment allowed, we are going to offer Brad the full max extension, Shepard told ESPN. Beal, 26, has until October 21st to sign that extension, which would start with the 2021-2022 season, a decision that Mark Bartelstein indicates that Beal will need time to consider. Now, Shepard says the moment that they can offer him, they will offer him that contract. That was yesterday on Friday. Beal has not signed that extension yet on Saturday, but like Bartelstein said, he'll need time to consider it. So Dave, pretty much lay out what he's considering this $111 million contract, why he would sign it, why he wouldn't sign it.
I think the only upside of this contract right now would be if he fears that he too will catch the plague of injuries. If he's like, man, I'm going to carry this team on my back, and I feel like I'm going to overdo it and hurt myself, because otherwise I would bet on myself if I were Bradley Beal. I'm coming off one of my best seasons ever. I'm coming into my prime. There's no reason to lock myself into a long-term deal that doesn't have the word supermax in front of it. Unless I'm picking the team myself, then I'm going for it. And Bradley Beal does need to do something on his own to actually get there. He does need to have some All-NBA appearance, but he really can do it because he is such a good player, and without John Wall, he can stuff the stat sheet.
Yeah, and obviously we saw that once Wall went down last year, that he could definitely stuff the stat sheets and possibly put himself into the context of a supermax. Now, Ricky Dave brought up the idea of that supermax and not wanting to lock himself in long term without that mantra. Obviously, the difference between that is 3 years, $111 million, and then pretty much a 5-year contract north of $200 million. He's going to get 35% of whatever the Wizards cap up, and then that's only going to go up by 8%. So we're not sure of the numbers yet, but it's well going to be north of $40 million, most likely, in the middle to the end of the contract. So looking at that and weighing this, if you were Bradley Beal right now, would you sign this 3-year, $111 million contract, or would you wait out to possibly Dave, or what Dave is saying with the Supermax deal? What would you do if you're Bradley Beal?
If I'm Bradley Beal, you're obviously going to wait until the Supermax. Why lock yourself in for less money when there's a good chance you could be getting more money at the end of the season? The end of the year, though, creates the dilemma, though, for Bradley Beal. It's, do I re-sign with the Wizards and basically stay on with this Wizards team, which There has been stuff where he says, well, he loves being in Washington, loves the team, wants to die in a Wizards uniform. But there's also the other side of it. There's the business aspect of it. If I'm Bradley Beal, I have to be thinking to myself, A, can John Wall and I be healthy enough to be on the court at the same time together? B, when we are on the court together, can we realistically win a finals together? And 3, if the answer is no, can this team make the right moves to build around me? That's the true thing where I think the heart's in the right place for Bradley Beal, loves the city, loves the team, but the business side of it, because John Wall already has the max, is this team going to be able to make the moves needed to win a title?
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, the worth. I think one thing is maybe he's not just all worried about the business side. Maybe he does just love Washington. Maybe he wants to stay for that reason. That could definitely be a reason why he stays. But let's say finals is definitely in his mind of wanting to go there. Dave, you talked about the end of the season, and that's when All-NBA awards come out. He has this year and then 1 year after this. The idea that I'm having is, what if he does look like he's having an All-NBA season? What if it looks like he's on the road to a Supermax, and I'm the Wizards, and I'm asking myself, we just signed John Wall to a Supermax contract, and right now it doesn't seem like it's worth it. It just kicked in this season, and now we're going to be looking at 5 more years of John Wall, and it's only going to go up to all the way to $42 million in his 32-year-old season. And to me, I don't think that's worth it. And now I have to question, is Bradley Beal worth it? Because yes, he does love Washington. He's been here for his whole career. But is he a superstar? And should we start taking these supermaxes more, with more, I don't know, like we shouldn't write them
Caution?
Off. Caution.
I
think that's probably the word. With more caution. Because Ricky brings up a great point. Obviously, Bradley Beal is going to take the most money possible. Why wouldn't he? Why would you? You can take the 27 this year to possibly get 40 plus next year instead of waiting on, I think 37 a year with the 3-year, $111 million contract. So to me, I now have to ask the question, is he worth it if I'm the Wizards to sign this Supermax? Do you think he is worth it to sign the Supermax deal?
I think it's tough to answer that right now because we haven't seen any play of Rui Hachimura yet. We haven't seen any play of Troy Brown Jr. I think the only way that he is worth it is if the supporting cast around him takes a large step forward. Because, like you said, like Ricky said, you're basically anchoring in this team based off of your contract and John Wall's contract, and removing all flexibility of free agent signings. Trades become very difficult because you're just going to be eating luxury tax for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at that point. I want to say he's a good enough player that he deserves it, but at the same time, I don't know if he could. I don't know if the Wizards could honestly give him that money and know that, like, look, we're going to be able to make the moves necessary to compete for a championship with John Wall and Bradley Beal under contract. If they've got it in their mind already that, like, look, we're going to make some finagling happen and we're going to move on from John Wall and we want to go all in on Bradley Beal, and they talk to him and he's good with that, then yes, that's the only situation that I think that I'm okay with.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong, right? Obviously, Bradley Beal means a lot to this team, but the thing that you brought up is if we need to move Wall, you can't. You have to operate like you can't. Because who would you take on that deal?
No.
If you were a GM of any team, if you
one possibility. If I'm Miami and I'm getting Bradley Beal, I'd think about it. I don't know if I'd push the button.
So if you
but
got
the thought would be there.
John Wall and Bradley Beal.
Yes, the thought would at least be there.
And that's fine. But the one thing is that we're now saying that Bradley, you brought it up that Bradley Beal and John Wall might not even want to play together. Yeah. That's why Beal might not want to sign.
Can they win together? Is the true question.
But they've had the two alpha things before, and then Dave even brought up the fact that Beal might say, well, I want to be the guy out there, and that might mean moving John Wall. So I don't know if it's possible to have those two guys on a team to win a championship. It's definitely possible. They've been very amicable, and even probably teammates, good teammates throughout the year. There haven't been actual spurts of Bobby Portis and Nico Mirotic. It hasn't been that kind of stuff.
They didn't
MJ Steker.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is the caution of Supermaxes. And just because he's a good player doesn't mean he is worth that much money because you're afraid to lose him. You sometimes need to hit that reset button. And if you're looking at this team right now, with what they're without John Wall to start this season, and they're going to get him back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at over-under wins of 28.5. Usually Vegas isn't too wrong. 28.5 is one of the lowest in the whole NBA that they put out. Suns are at 27, Knicks are at 27, and then coming in at third place, and Cavs are at 24, and Hornets are at 24. Coming in at fifth place are our good old Washington Wizards. So they're projecting them to be top 5 pick this year.
Yeah.
I think they're even under that. I don't think they're at 28 this year. So looking at all that, I don't think they're going to get to 28 wins. So right now they can't even win without John Wall. And you're obviously talking about the possible growth that their players that can take, like Troy Brown and Rui Hachimura can take. I'm not high on Rui Hachimura. I'm not high on Troy Brown. I'm not high on any of the young players. And you're going to have to deal with that John Wall contract, and I think it's unmovable. So if I'm looking at all this, I think you need to trade him because in the end, I don't think he's worth the Supermax. And if we're looking at some guy that's going to be coming up eligible for the Supermax, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. That guy is worth the Supermax.
Yeah.
That guy is a superstar. That guy is a top 10 player. That guy is an MVP. That guy has a brand. He is a national superstar.
He's got a nation
He's
behind him.
a worldwide superstar, a Grecian hero. And you look at the guys that have been put under the max contracts. Damian Lillard, he might not be an MVP, but he's damn well always in top 10 voting, in top 5 in some certain cases, and he's been there for years in Portland. James Harden, under the max, Supermax, MVP. Steph, under the Supermax, MVP. Westbrook, under the Supermax, MVP. The only guy that wasn't is John Wall. Do we think that Bradley Beal's an MVP?
No.
Is John Wall? Is John Wall? No. Are they both very good players?
Yeah.
Yes. But they're not worth the Supermax. And that's why I think he will be traded because I don't think he's worth that money. I don't think they're going to pay him that money. And I think he's worth trading.
I agree with you. I think the Wizards sooner rather than later need to bite the bullet and understand that we're in rebuild mode when it comes to Washington. Because I look at their team and most of it is Bonga, Brown, Hachimura, Admiral Schofield, Mo Wagner, Thomas Bryant. All those guys are 22 and below.
Yeah.
And it's like John Wall's 29, but how much is he going to play because he's injured?
Yep.
And then when he does come back, how well is he going to play in that Supermax? You've got Isaiah Thomas, who's 30 plus. You've got Ish Smith, CJ Miles, Jan Mahimi, all 30 plus guys in age to where it's I think the Wizards need to understand, hey, we are not in compete for a championship mode. We are in the rebuild. The only way we help ourselves is by trading Bradley Beal. What do we want to trade him for is the question.
Well, here's the thing, too.
Yeah.
I think you make a great point about bringing the players that are up on the roster because you look at the moves that they did and did not make. Bobby Portis was out there on their team. They didn't extend him an offer. Jabari Parker, same thing. He's still a free agent.
No, Jabari, didn't he sign with the Hawks?
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah.
Forgot about that move.
Yep.
But I don't think they extended him an offer. They weren't making moves this offseason. They made some minor moves like Bertans for $7 million, but that's only for a year. I think they also got CJ Miles, but that was only for a year as well. They weren't making big moves outside of the trade with the Lakers, or at least getting Bonga and getting Mo Wagner. Yeah. They weren't making moves this year. They weren't trying to improve their team because I think they understand where they're at in putting themselves in the trade market, or at least putting themselves in rebuild mode. And the next move, the logical move, is to trade Bradley Beal. And some fans might be wondering, they offered him the extension. Why would they offer the extension if they didn't want him on their team? Well, they offered him the extension because, one, it's the polite thing to do. Two, they want to still keep him in good ways with the organization. They don't want him to become upset.
Yeah, you don't want to burn any bridges.
Exactly.
You don't want to force a poisonous relationship.
Well, and they don't want to have him go out and be like, I want to be traded. They don't want him to start making demands, and they don't want him to hurt his trade value. Yeah. Because if they are like, we're now in this mood that we're going to trade him and we're going to go to him with the idea that we're going to trade him, if they make it seem like it's their idea and we're doing it out of love because we want you to be the guy and we want you to win a championship, we want you to be successful, that's going to help them and help his trade value rather than him coming out and not wanting to play and then possibly threaten to sit out or possibly just threaten to not be there and be unhappy and hurt the team.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to balance the whole inner workings of all this. He's going to get traded. In my mind, there's no way he's not traded. I think they will trade him. I think it'd be tough for him to be on this team past the trade deadline. I think they'd be stupid to keep him past that trade deadline. Get him if he's having a great year before he becomes an All-NBA player, and you have to even think about offering him Supermax.
Yep.
Or trade him now, and you don't have to worry about it.
No, I think you hit it spot on as far as the relationship, because if he starts going all Paul George, Anthony Davis, Steve on this and demanding his way out of town, team's going to shortcut his offers. Like, he is one of the most valuable players in the NBA today because he is a two-guard who can play as a primary ball handler. He can score. He can ISO. He can help others. He plays great defense. Like, he's a true two-way player. Like, behind, like, Klay Thompson, everybody's got on a fucking pedestal. Like, Bradley Beal's a better overall player than Klay Thompson is. People may not like that take, but that's my take. Deal with it. It's an opinion.
Well, Klay Thompson fits a role.
Yeah.
Like, he fits his role, and he fits it damn well. That's the
Klay's
thing
also
that makes him well.
much better at the three part. But if we're talking Beal, I mean, Beal's still a phenomenal 3-point shooter. But Beal's also more of an all. I mean, Beal.
Who's better defensively?
Sorry, I don't want to start this conversation, but yeah,
it's tough. We'll have it soon when we come to the positional rankings.
Hey,
that's the thing is, like, I want to say Beal is produced more offensively, but it's also, like Ricky said, he fits a role better.
Yeah. If you give Klay a team,
Klay put up 61 in a game.
And that's something I was going to bring up to help your point of you brought up all the Supermaxes and how many times you said the words MVP. And I know that LeBron's team did last year in Cleveland might have been a little bit more vet heavy than what we saw with the Wizards last year, but I can't help but look at it and go, you played 82 games, almost 37 minutes per game, and your team only won, 32 games? You still missed the playoffs with you as the dominant guy. So it's almost like if I'm the Wizards, it's, hey, I can offer him the contract, still try to trade him within those years, and we might not even make the playoffs anyways with him being our one.
Yeah.
So we'd still have a good enough draft pick. And number two, teams might want to trade for him more then, because then they're like, hey, we don't have to worry about that Supermax. He's already locked down. We don't have to worry about giving him more money and basically crippling us with the Supermax.
It's true. And think about the moves that the Wizards have made in the last year. They moved on from Otto Porter. They moved on from Thomas Satoransky. So two of the guys who had been around that young core growing.
Two guys that are where now?
On the Bulls.
Chicago!
Bulls.
Otto obviously could not produce in that system like they expected him to grow. Done better on the Bulls. Satoransky probably the same. But no, I mean, like, if they're making moves to clear off guys who have been able to produce for them, but I think you guys are smelling the truth, though. Like, it's time for this team to rebuild before. Like, look at the other teams in the league. Charlotte, Kemba is eligible for a larger deal. They didn't even offer him the most available money for, his eligibility, and no duh. Did not decide to take that. Ended up doing a sign-and trade deal, obviously, with the Celtics. As the other half was Terry Rozier. And I think that that's a team where they're in a situation where they are, like, truly the bottom of the barrel as far as rebuilds. Meanwhile, you've got a team like the Thunder where, yes, they traded away an MVP, a Supermax contract, and they got back some old man, but they got back a bunch of draft picks. And I think that's the important part, is that if you're in a situation, I think that Bradley Beal's contract as it stands today, even if he decided to sign this contract extension, is still more valuable than Russell Westbrook's.
Let me throw this question out, because of course, if you're new to the Fast Break, I'm the trade guy.
Yeah.
I love coming up with trades. I'll ask you guys, if you're the Wizards, what two options would you be looking for from teams? Draft picks? Would you want at least like 2 or 3 draft picks, maybe 4 in a deal? Or would you be fine with, let's say, 1 first rounder, probably lottery protected, but hey, I'm getting some not super young, but young enough veterans that still have room to grow in this league. Maybe like guys, maybe guys that are like mid-20s.
Okay.
Like mid-20s, early 20s.
So like 20 to 26 range.
Yeah. Okay. Those kind of veterans that are pre-prime
players
that still have time to grow.
Yeah.
But like they're veterans. They're not like rookies that are like, oh my God, I'm fresh to the league.
Yeah. The thing with that is what would we call it? Teens. We can call those teens because they're not freshmen or sophomores. They're teens. I think one thing that you mentioned, Ricky, before we get into that, because I'll answer that within this question. But first, I just want to say you said something about Beal stats and how it correlated to 32 wins. Beal, once Wall was injured, the pre-35 games, they had 14 wins in 35 games. That's a 40% win percentage. And then the last 47 games, when Wall was out, when Beal took over, they went 18 and 29 or whatever. That's a 38 win percentage. So the win percentage really didn't change with either of those players. Yeah. That team was just bad. And I think Beal did the most. And I don't want to say that as a knock, because I think he is such a great player that I would be going after, as much as I could possibly get. And what I would be looking for in that is possibly a young star and then picks. Okay. So I wouldn't be going after those guys that, like you were saying, 24, 25, 26, that have had probably, 3 to 6 years in the league and some draft picks. I'd be going for those guys that are, fresh, rookies and sophomores and picks in that deal, because I want to be able to replenish these young guys under John Wall. Maybe we could see a thing where, John Wall is the leader, pretty much what we're seeing in Oklahoma City now with CP3, and a better version too. I mean, you're getting a player when healthy, is still young, still very explosive, can still pass the ball in John Wall. I would want him to be able to bring this team along, because he still is a Washington legend, John Wall. I would say that, you need to be able to you need to be able to give him something worth value in those later half of his career, and possibly even try to boost his trade value up, because we don't know what the cap's going to look like in 3 years. Yeah. Maybe teams will be able to take on John Wall if he's producing well. He's doing that around young players. Could help him. But if I was to answer your question, I'd be going for a young star and draft picks. I'd be looking for the youngest possible thing, because I need something to hit really late. I don't need to hit something to hit right now. Yeah,
I mean, like, you hope for that dream scenario like the Pacers ended up with, where you got a player in Victor Oladipo, where was he a good young player? Yes. Was he a victim of his circumstances as far as, what had capped his ceiling at the time? Yes. I mean, undoubtedly, he was good on Orlando, but he couldn't really play his style. He was good as a secondary ball handler for OKC, but then we watched him thrive when he got to hold the reins for the Pacers. So I think that they would look for someone who they think, that kid's got it. We just need to unleash him. He's got that second gear he can flip into.
Look at D'Angelo Russell. That's another great
D'Angelo Russell.
I mean, he became an all-star on that Nets team. Obviously, they didn't get the fruitful yield of the Indiana Pacers keeping Victor Oladipo, but I think they have got a pretty good consolation prize of having to let D'Angelo Russell walk and getting KD and Kyrie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if I'm looking for something, I think Dave's right. You need to be looking for guys that are victims of their situation. And the one thing, too, is Victor played 4 years before he went to Indiana and became this all-star.
Yeah.
And in those years, 16 points per game, 34% from three, 80% from the line, 4.5 boards, 4 boards, 1.5 steal, a really good defensive player who wasn't able to unlock that offensive player level. And he went to the right system. He was going to a place that was defensive focused. They were going to slow the game down more. He was going to be able to attack more, and he also just worked on his game more and became a better shooter. I think the one person that would stick out in my mind of being that kind of dude that's a victim of his own situation would be Devin Booker. But everyone is so fucking high on Devin Booker that it's not possible.
Yeah.
When you said victim of situation, I was like, Devin Booker. But then you look at his numbers, and his numbers are ridiculous.
Oh, they're incredible.
But Devin Booker hasn't been able to help a winning team yet. So that's the one thing where I was like, I just need to share that thought of people overrate the fuck out of Devin Booker. He's a fantastic player, but you can't be like, oh, he's a victim of a situation, because everybody knows who Devin Booker is, and everybody thinks he has that next level where people didn't think Vic had that level. So you need to be able to find someone that is kind of in that weird situation of a high draft pick, or at least a first-round draft pick that has that potential. We always knew that potential was there, but he's gone to multiple places. Like Victor Oladipo was a very interesting spot, but you have some trades, I think, right?
I do. So I've got.
Do any mention a diet Victor Oladipo in there?
One is for Vic's team.
Oh.
Vic's team's in there. I've got one that has more of the. So trade one, you're going to get two 23-year-olds, a 26, a 27, and then a pick.
Okay.
Trade two, you're going to get a 29-year-old, a 26, 27-year-old? Let me see. 23-year-old, I'm sorry. So a 29, a 23, and an 18-year-old.
Who's that old guy that you were like, oh, let's add 3 years?
You'll see. The guy I missed is the second guy. You'll see who it is. And then 3 picks. And then the other one is the Miami Heat. We'll get to them last. I'll just spoil that. But the first one is Pacers and Wizards. Grade this trade. Beal goes to the Pacers. The Wizards get Sabonis and Aaron Holiday, two 23-year-olds.
Okay.
TJ Warren, who's 26, I think. And then Doug McDermott, who's 27. And they would get a lottery-protected 2022 pick, first rounder from the Pacers.
TJ Warren will be 26 by the start of the season.
Okay.
September 5th birthday.
And this trade could not be done until September 4th because of TJ Warren. So you got to wait until
Hilarious.
September 4th.
So basically the day before his birthday,
Yeah.
you have to trade. Okay.
That's when the restriction lifts.
Yeah.
That sucks. And at least he might not have moved to Indianapolis yet. That would suck if he moved there. Like he moves right before and be like, can't wait to spend my birthday in the desolate Indianapolis metropolitan. You
All
ever
4
go
blocks of it.
Yeah, you ever go to Indianapolis?
I did for Gen
We
Con.
drove through it.
Indianapolis, like a beautiful town.
It really is.
No one is there. I was there at noon. Not a soul was in there.
Yeah.
And
Did
maybe
you
that's
also say that?
Yeah. It's great though. Like
Oh, it's a great place.
cool architecture.
There's no traffic.
Interesting city. Like they've got their own like little pockets for like different niches. Like I like it.
It's a nice city.
Yep.
Just no one's there.
Yeah. As far as this trade goes though, I do like it.
No one's there.
No one's no.
No one's there in that trade.
Sabonis and Holiday are definitely the two spicy pieces of this deal. Sabonis notably not able to play at the same time as Turner to a great result.
Yeah.
They got some overlapping game there. I think he's awesome though. Like he's one of the best up and coming modern bigs. Great ball handler. Like he's not as good as his daddy, but he's very good. He's very good.
Got it from my dad.
Aaron Holiday, we haven't seen much out of him yet, and that's the thing. Like they were so deep at point guard last year that we didn't get to see much. So like, if you were maybe the Wizards were high on him last year, and like, look, we know what we ended up with in John Wall. So like, we need somebody who can come in and play, someone who can come and be our next growing piece. I think that's interesting. My question revolves around only one first. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to get it done.
Even the lotto first, too, that's kind of, I would say you need to add more to that because I think Bradley Beal is a fantastic player. Also, they weren't sleeping on Aaron Holiday. They had the choice to draft him. He went 23rd. They took Troy Brown. Yikes. At 15.
Yeah, they went for the young kid.
And Holiday, too, he only played 12 minutes a game, so it wasn't anything he did get that time, like you were saying, because they were so deep at point guard. But to your point of the picks, lotto protected, I think you just gotta unprotect that shit for Washington, because it's probably gonna be unprotected, at some point.
Yeah.
But unprotect it now because you're expecting Victor Oladipo, who's young, to play well for you in a long time. Malcolm Brogdon a long time.
That
young well for
three-headed
you too.
monster.
And Bradley Beal for a long time too. And that's a cool thing too. Is that's like the Rockets 3-guard situation, but much better. Because you don't have that James Harden, but you have a very great player in Victor Oladipo when healthy. You have a very great player in Bradley Beal who's better than Eric Gordon, and you have a very good player in Malcolm Brogdon who might be better than an often injured Chris Paul.
At that point, do you just let Brogdon run the 2? Like
I
run
mean-
the second unit because you have
No, you're on 1, 2, 3.
Brogdon's 1, probably Beal
Vic would
2,
be 2
and then
and-
no, Beal 2,
Okay.
and then Depot 3.
Okay.
How the fuck are you scoring on that team 1?
With Miles Turner at the 5?
Jesus.
Yeah, that's dirty. I like what that would do for the Pacers. I just don't think that they're giving the Wizards enough value there. So,
But
it
something
might
could be worked out
more
there.
picks. But yeah, I like the core pieces
Yeah.
of Sabonis and Holiday, seeing what they could do to move forward.
Yeah, I just wonder how they could build then
Because
around
they're both expandable.
that team. Because how would they fill out that depth? Because you do have Jeremy Lamb, who they just signed.
Yeah.
But really, outside of that, then you're looking at everyone's boy, T.J. McConnell.
Yeah.
But he's a backup Jesus.
I mean,
a
if-
backup
He's a
point
goat.
guard.
He's
The
the
goat.
GOAT.
Then you have your backup big and my favorite player, Goga Batazde. Then you have a very iffy player in TJ Leaf, has not been able to hit his peak. Edmund Sumner, former guy from Xavier, got injured, fell to the second round. He definitely has a lot of potential. Then you're looking at the tank commander in Jakar Sampson.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's pretty much all they got on their team. So they definitely need to help out. They have Brian Bowen on a two-way contract too, the guy from Louisville.
Nice.
Or Louisville, kind of.
Yeah, so not quite Louisville.
But they would need to be able to fill out that team because something I do like about their team is their depth. I do like Doug McDermott as a three-ball shooter. I love TJ Warren as a scorer. He's phenomenal. Added that three-ball. Holiday, really nice young piece. And then Sabonis, too. I mean, you can't find a better 4 or better bench big in the NBA right now, or there probably is. I'm probably forgetting of like some stacked team like is Boogie now a bench a back? Like he could be the best big, but at least young bench big, he's easily the best one. So I would say that for Indianapolis, you're getting a phenomenal player, and I think it's worth it.
Think they need to give up more picks.
I think they need to give up more picks, but at least the only downside that I could see for Indianapolis was I think you're really at least thinning out your bench, and I don't know how that would work out. But yes, adding more picks, and I think that deal is definitely viable. What's the other one?
The second one. This is a team we talked about last week. They're not going to trade Blake Griffin away. They're going to try to get Blake some help. So the Pistons get Bradley Beal. They give up 29-year-old Reggie Jackson. They give up 23-year-old Luke Kennard.
You thought he was 26?
Yeah, well, he looks 26 in this picture.
No, I don't blame you on that one.
Then they give up 18-year-old Sekou Demboya that they just drafted.
Yep.
And then their 2020 first rounder, their 2022 first rounder, and their 2024 first round picks. Put whatever protections you think should be on them. 3 firsts, and then Jackson, Kennard, and Sekou.
Where were you coming? It's just take me through when you were putting the picks together. Why did you go short in Indiana? Then I think you went heavy on Detroit.
So both of these trades are the Pacer one was from Bleacher Report article. I'll put it down below in the comment section. And then there was a fan site article, Wiz It All, which is the Wizards site, proposed this Wizard trade.
Gotcha.
I can see why the Wizards proposed this trade.
And I just wanted to see in the NBA trade machine if they would work out. This one would be able to after August 3rd because of Sekou. You got to wait 30 days after drafting Sekou.
Gotcha.
So August 3rd on, they can make this trade.
We'll talk about when they would trade him, whether it be trade deadline or before the season. Again, the deal makes sense. This would probably be my favorite over the Indianapolis one, at least for Washington sense, because you get Kennard, who is very young and can play right now next to John Wall, and he could grow into something that, he might not be something great ever, but he can be a very good starter.
The hope is JJ Redick.
Yeah, and with Sekou, I mean, you're pulling at heartstrings there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of my favorite players from that
Reggie
draft recently.
And Reggie Jackson, you get him off the books after this year.
Exactly.
He's done.
And you also pair up Ish Smith and Reggie Jackson again back
Ish
together.
just quit. He's like, I'm done with this.
I can't play, man.
Not this again.
But Sekou, I mean, he's one of my favorite players. So, I mean, and you talk about young stars, and, he might not be in that same mold of a Victor Oladipo like we're talking about where people are giving up on him. But he was a guy that fell, and I think fell too much in this draft. And you're giving him the ability to really just wait it out. And you have 2 projects, too, in Sekou Demboya and Rui Hachimura. And maybe Sekou could teach Rui how to shoot, and Rui could teach Sekou how to get bigger. So I think that would be a great deal, at least from Washington.
Off one of those picks, and it feels about fair. Like,
that's what I was saying.
Get rid of that last pick, that 2024 or whichever one.
If I'm Washington, I'm like, throw in another pick. Why not?
Well, yeah, Washington's proposed this one. I think fair if you give 2 first-round picks, Kennard, Sekou, who were both first round, mid-first round.
Yeah.
And Reggie Jackson's contract to fill that void. I like that deal.
I like that deal, too.
For both teams.
Yeah.
And then the last one is just the kind of reported Miami Heat trade. It's just a question of if you're Miami, do you pull the trigger? Where a lot of them are saying in order for Miami to get it done, they might have to take on John Wall also.
How?
So in this one, Bradley Beal and John Wall would be coming over to the Miami Heat, and the Wizards would get Johnson, who's 2-year, $15.3 million.
James Johnson, the strongest man in the league.
Dion Waiters County, Justin Winslow, Justice Winslow, Kelly Olynyk, and then a first rounder in 2025 because Miami has traded certain picks to where it's like they can't trade next year's. They can't trade the 2022 because they can't trade back to back. So the first eligible one that they could give up would be 2025.
This is my least favorite one because not only do you not get enough picks in my mind at 2025, that's rough for me. Only that 2025 pick that doesn't make it's not enough for me to get up there. Now being Miami's 2025 pick, I do like that because with their contract situation, Wall coming off by then, Beal coming off by then, and Butler coming off by then. You're not sure if those guys are going to be there, and if they are, they're going to be really old at that point. So that might be a really bad team where you get a good pick at 2025. But outside of that, like you do get Winslow, Olynyk's fine, but Johnson and Waiters are kind of throwaway pieces to match up that contract salary, and also with Olynyk, I mean that's not enough. So you're really looking at really just Winslow in the 2025. And that doesn't move the needle enough for me to pass up a guy like Sekou, who is more controlled lengthwise under contract for a rookie deal for, 5 years? Kennard, who's got at least 3 years left on his contract, and then Reggie Jackson getting that relief next year, and then 2 picks as well. I like that Detroit package more, and I like the Indy package more too.
I think
you do get a lot of help though with the Wall thing, which is true.
That's the big appetizer. This screams front office of the Miami Heat. This screams we refuse to go down without a fight because we don't tank. Pat Riley don't tank. Pat Riley goes in and just rubs that luxury tax and says, "Hey buddy, how's it going?" That's his best friend. If there's one player who I think has that Victor Oladipo quality, would be Justice Winslow. He's a player who we saw him explode at the end of last season, shooting percentage-wise, thriving in a role of a point forward. And he's a guy who, because they had so many good offensive weapons around him, in Josh Richardson and Deion Waiters, obviously was not healthy, but they had other guys running that offense really, or taking the scoring load. I think that if you give him a starring role on an emptied out team like Washington, it's basically just a better Troy Brown Jr. by a lot. He'd put up ridiculous numbers. I think he would put up 18, 7, and 6 or something. I really do think that he could be a do-it-all point forward, and he could be the guy who explodes and takes that next big step forward. I understand that you're not getting as much value back with supporting cast piece. Kelly Olynyk is not sexy. It's just James Johnson.
He's good.
Yeah. James Johnson, Kelly O are not great guys as far as a rebuilding team, but they are good players. They're good locker room pieces. James Johnson is one of the best locker room guys. He's a perfect veteran.
Former Bull.
And that pick is so far down the line, who knows what it'll be. So it's spicy, but I'm still leaning that Detroit one. I would love to see John Wall, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, though. That would just be fucking hilarious.
I don't know why the Heat would do it, to be honest with you. You get Beal, which is great, but it's bad desperation.
Have you seen the John Wall workout
stupidity.
videos? He's not fat homeless John Wall anymore.
I've not seen the John Wall
workout videos. He's doing the hockey ropes.
He actually looks ripped.
He's getting those ripped arms.
No, pretty ripped.
Do you remember the Olympic team John Wall?
Yeah, it's my picture somewhere. It was my background for a little bit.
The dude was huge. It was hilarious.
Yeah, but I think it was a bad picture because he wasn't that fat when it came down to the actual season.
Yeah,
I think it was just a shitty picture.
Probably. But yeah.
I think that with this, though, all of it's just going to come down to the trade deadline. Because do you feel any of these are going to happen preseason?
No.
I don't think it'll happen preseason, but I think the Detroit one's interesting because it adds another legit star next to Blake. And they really seem to be, the feedback we got from our Blake Griffin video that we knew was not going to happen seemed real hard in on they should go for it for Blake. And even we talked about it, Blake's got one more year. Don't even worry about this year. See where it goes. See how he comes back from his injury and run it back because he played fantastic last year. If you give him any help, Reggie was not any help.
Yeah. Well, with Detroit then, because they would be getting rid of Jackson, which is a positive. Who would their point guard be?
Detroit's point guard would be
it's not
Bruce Brown, clearly.
Oh, sick.
He played decent for him last year, and he had a great summer league.
Just make Blake the point guard. Well, Beal, I guess.
No, Derrick Rose.
Oh, it's right.
The Lord and Savior Derrick Rose.
Yikes.
Or Tim Frazier.
Hey, he's a rating of 80 in 2K this year.
I'm be honest.
He also hits threes like it ain't no thing.
I don't know if Tim's a solid basketball player, but I like him as a person. And I don't know anything about if he's a potential criminal at all. But I know that Tim Frazier, maybe it's the name. He just seems like a nice guy. I think he's got a nice smile too, from what I remember about Tim Frazier. I don't remember though anything about something that he could have done wrong. So if he did something wrong, I take back that. I was listening to the radio recently, and some person called Addison Russell a good guy, and that was a oof. But he knew what Addison Russell was what's it called? Accused of.
Oh, accused of, yeah.
Yeah, accused of. I don't know if Tim Brown's a criminal.
Tim Frazier.
Tim Brown.
Shout
out
former Penn State Nittany Lion right there, Tim Frazier.
Oh. I thought you were saying Tim Brown. I was like, no, that guy's a Golden Domer.
I remember watching Tim Frazier for the Nittany Lions on Big Ten Network.
Nice.
Now I got to look up Tim Frazier's criminal history. He might not even be a criminal. This might be insulting to the Tim Frazier fans.
While he does that, he mentioned Addison Russell. Did you guys hear the funny news about him?
No.
So he got sent down to the minor leagues, missed the Iowa exit, and ended up in Omaha.
No.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
I saw it from a legit source, not the Onion.
Ricky, it was an Onion-like source.
Oh my god.
Because the whole story was that he was not getting the signs with the Cubs, so then they sent him down to the Iowa Cubs.
Yeah.
So they made the joke that he misread the signs to go to Iowa.
I see
and he
what
went
they did there.
to he went to the Double-A team.
I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah, it was a good satirical piece, but it was
didn't like
definitely a
Addison Russell,
satirical
so I
piece.
believed it.
We're trying to be more factual here, and throwing out that crap is not going to be factual. Also, Tim Frazier graduated May 2013 with a 3.1 grade point average in supply chain and information systems at Smeal College of Business. Frazier added a second bachelor's in communications arts and sciences the following year. He later served as the basketball team representative to the Penn State Student Athletic Advisory Board and was a member of the secret society at Pari Nois while at Penn State, and is not a convicted criminal. And I do like Tim Frazier.
See,
I can
you
make that
learn
a solid
something new
take.
every time you watch our podcast. You can't walk away from this show without learning something.
Solid takes. Tim Frazier's a good guy. I could back that one up. Anyways,
So we're all in on this mid-season deal to Detroit.
yes, Ricky, you're a mid-season deal guy?
I'm either Indiana or Detroit. If it was me, I would go with the Detroit trade. Give me young Sekou and picks. But at the same time, if Washington feels like, hey, John Wall's going to come back and we're going to build around John Wall, Sabonis, Holiday, Warren, like those guys I feel like could be good pieces if John Wall's coming back healthy and is going to lead this team. Otherwise, give me draft picks. I'm going to go young and rebuild this team through the draft.
I love doing this, although we already answered the question. This is how we end every podcast. Will the Washington Wizards trade Bradley Beal?
Yes, at the trade deadline.
Thank you for answering it. Dave was not looking at
I
me.
gave
I
a
was directing it to
suspenseful
him.
look over to the camera. I was like,
Yes,
oh?
they will.
Should they?
It was a weird pause.
Yes, they should.
All right, and I think
It's
yes.
an oppressive
No,
yes, though.
would they?
Yeah, will they?
Will
Not
they?
should
Would they? Should they? The answer is yes to all the above.
All right, yes, and I think it's a will as well. And I out of these deals, I think Detroit is definitely one, and one I have to throw out there, like I do all the time, is the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets would actually be a legit good landing spot for them. I think they need another star. Bradley Beal is that. Bradley Beal is a very great player. I don't think he's a superstar. He's not worth a super max, but he's a very good player, and I think he could be a great number 2 on a championship level team. And if they got Bradley Beal, I think that they would be a championship contender and not just one of those teams that would be competing with the Lakers and Clippers. But
They're giving up Malik Beasley, Will Barton, Michael Porter
Gary
Jr.,
Harris.
and Bol.
exactly, there it is. Gary Harris has to be in there too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Michael Porter Jr. is that guy. That would be that key piece.
That's a it factor.
He's that superstar potential guy that I think would be huge. And then if you want to reunite Bobo and Manupal, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
You'll bring him back
It's a Washington
You
thing.
getting us demonetized over there?
No, I'm not getting him
your
demonetized.
left eyes?
What do you think I'm putting him up there? What do you think I'm
I
putting
don't know.
porn on there?
I look at
Jesus.
his face after looking at it.
I'm gonna sign off by saying, let us know if you think that the Wizards will trade Bradley Beal, and if they do, will Tim Frazier become it's a picture of Tim Frazier.
It's just
Will
Tim
Tim
Frazier's
Frazier
face.
become the starting point guard of the Detroit Pistons if they trade him to the Detroit Pistons? So everybody say goodbye to Tim Frazier. Bye Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Let us know if you think that Bradley Beal will be traded by the Washington Wizards. But let's move into the next topic, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. And sticking with the Trade-a-Palooza episode, we are going to be talking about, can the Cavs find a trade partner for Kevin Love? We're kind of making this one up that there are trade rumors for Kevin Love. But if we're looking into it, Kevin Love right now, 31 years old, just recently signed an extension. This is the first year that it will kick in. He is getting paid $120 million in the next 4 years, 28.9, 3.2, 31.2, and then 28.9. So a weird start at 28, then go to 31, and then a little dip. It's not really backloaded or front-loaded.
It's mid-loaded.
It's mid-loaded. So he got a mid-loaded contract, Kevin Love. And the idea is he's a veteran, 31 years old. He's not really in a position to win at this point. And he's also not a star, but he could possibly help out a team to win a championship. And the Cavs aren't in this position to win a championship. They are one of the expected worst teams in the league coming up this year. They're dealing with a lot of rookies. So the question now becomes, can they find a trade partner for Kevin Love? Because sitting at this contract and his injury history and also his ability to help a team, but also he wasn't really seen as a massive success for that Cavs team. They were able to win, but it was mostly due to LeBron James turning it on and Kyrie's massive shot. We'll say Kevin Love did shut down Steph Curry in the last possession, but overall, Kevin Love was never a solid thing when LeBron was there. So we have to ask the question, can they find a trade partner for Kevin Love if they want to make him available?
Absolutely.
I don't know who's going to... Like, the whole thing is, like, there are teams that I could see wanting to trade for Kevin Love.
Yeah.
It's just the part that is fuzzy for me is Cleveland going to get a package that they're happy with? Or is it going to turn down to something where it's like, well, we gotta trade for this because we can't, like, when we get to the end of his contract, not now, but will it turn into, well, we're going to trade him for this years later because we're just going to trade him for something rather than letting him walk for free?
I mean, I think he still has some value. I think somebody will be able to find, that nice sweet spot for him because, like, look, when he's healthy, he's a 4 who can shoot really well from the outside. And it basically a stretch 4 with his ability to rebound. I think that there's definitely value out there for teams who are looking to, go from we're close to a playoff contender to we want to see if we can hold our own in the first round. I don't know if there's any of those teams who have the firepower to take, like, we're definitely a playoff team going for a championship. Like, the Houston Rockets, I know, was, like, the big rumor out there to float it out and, like, we're going to empty the cupboards to Kevin Love here, whether it's a deal with PJ or, no, it was Clint Capella and Eric Gordon and another bench piece, I think, to try to get Kevin Love in there. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it trust me, it's weird.
That's a bad trade. Why would you give up Capella? I don't care if Capella got ran off the floor last year defensively.
That's exactly what it's playoffs. That's the only concern.
It's going to happen to Kevin Love too. You don't think Kevin Love's going to get run off the floor defensively?
At the 4? Nah. Who's attacking you at the 4 in the West right now? Paul Millsap?
LeBron James, Anthony Davis.
LeBron James is a 1.
You could also put him at the 4. If they put Rondo out there and move LeBron to the 4 and AD to the 5.
I mean, I put PJ Tucker on AD. That's solves that problem.
Okay, that's fine. But
yeah,
LeBron versus Kevin Love
still has to guard someone. He's not, the worst athlete in the world, but
he's a good athlete.
Yeah,
slim down.
He has had to slim down. Fat Kevin Love will never rise again. I was hoping for some Fat Kevin Love numbers last year. Yeah, didn't quite happen.
I mean, he was fine last year in the 22 games he played. Put up 17 points. He wasn't efficient. 38.5% from the field.
Yeah,
36% from 3, which is above average.
Right.
And a little bit below his career average, 37, but still around that range. 90% from the line, which was good to see.
Yeah.
10 boards, 2.2 assists. That's near the highest of his career, at least highest in his Cleveland career. And then 0.3 steals and 0.2 blocks. So, I mean, K-Love, the biggest thing is injuries. And you look at the last 3 years, 2013, 2014 played 77 games. 2014, 2015 played 75 games. 2015, 2016 played 77 games. And then the past 3 years, it's fallen off. 60 games, 59 games, 22 games. Played a total of 141 games. And that's out of a possible 246 games. And that's not including the playoff games that he did miss and did play in.
Yeah.
But at least in the regular season, he's barely gotten over half. Half games played.
It ain't good.
So that's the reason why I don't think they can find a trade partner for him, at least right now. I don't think Kevin Love's getting dealt unless we see a phenomenal first half of the season from Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. We need to see him healthy out there. We need to see him very agile. We need to see him playing nearly 30 minutes a game. And we need to see good K-Love numbers. I mean, I'm not saying, 54.7, 37.6, 26 points, and 22.5 or 12.5 boards. I'm not saying his Minnesota season.
Fat K-Love numbers?
Yeah, his 25-year season. I'm not talking that type of season. But we need to see something where he is putting up 17 points a game and over 10 boards a game, and then also being efficient from the field, over 40% shooting for sure, and then nearer that 37% that he's always been at. I think we need to see that type of season from K-Love. I think we need to see him bounce back, because right now I don't think he has Clint Capella trade value, and I think that's why he hasn't been moved.
Wow.
If they offered him Clint Capella and Eric Gordon, right, they would have taken that deal. Why wouldn't have? They've been got out of the Gordon contract by now, and Clint Capella, while he would be there longer, is still a very solid big and can help you run pick and roll and teach these young guys like Garland and Sexton how to play and how to run a pick and roll and get them some body work.
Finally going to move on from TT?
Yeah, well, that, and they could also actually give him a body to build around and a body to work around.
Yeah.
Because right now, Clint Capella is a phenomenal pick and roll setter. He's a phenomenal roller.
He is.
So you're getting them, 2 undersized guards, some help size-wise. to get around and make it more difficult for guys to guard them. I think they would have absolutely taken that deal. He's bigger than K-Love. He's more fluid than K-Love. He's more usable than K-Love. I would have taken Capella and Gordon for K-Love.
I think K-Love brings you playoff value. That's where he's better than.
But why do the Cavs need that?
They don't.
So that's why they would have taken Clint Capella and Eric Gordon.
So you're paying double center money. Well, I mean, at this point, you're in salary cap whatever mode, so you don't care. Yeah, no, I think that's a deal that it could be a win-win. I'm just tossing out there. I know there's been rumors about it, and I know why it didn't go down, but I still think that's a deal that as the season goes on, you might see churn back up again and see how much can we get away with for Kevin Love.
Mm-hmm. My thing too is Tristan Thompson's done after this year.
Oh, he is
contract-wise.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't have to worry about that, and Capella's got 3 more years after this.
Yep.
So I think that would make sense for them. What were you saying, Ricky?
The thing that I think comes into it is, are the Cavs going to get the same type of haul that we were talking about for Bradley Beal? God, no. They're not going to get, numerous picks or numerous players.
No,
for me, it's about finding the right situation. And, one that I came across, this one was from, I think it was Factory of Sadness. .com, which is the fan-sided Cleveland site.
Couldn't tell.
They came across a Boston-Cleveland trade that I find interesting because it helps both teams in certain situations where Cleveland would get Gordon Hayward and the Memphis pick this upcoming year in 2020. So you get a first-rounder and Gordon Hayward. The Celtics...
Protected first.
Protected. The Celtics would get K-Love and then Jetty Osman. So
giving up 2 starters.
Well,
what?
To make the contracts work.
I don't know if they give up Jetty.
The thing that I feel like this could be a starting point is because if I'm Cleveland, yes, it's protected, but I'm getting a first-round pick, and Gordon Hayward's contract is up before K-Love's contract is up, which allows me to maybe go after free agents sooner than I would if I had K-Love. And also from a Celtics standpoint, right now they are running Kemba at the 1, Brown at the 2, Hayward at the 3. This is off of ESPN.
Yeah.
Then JT at the 4. Well, if you move Hayward to Cleveland, you can move JT back to the 3, put K-Love at the 4, and have a front court of K-Love and Cantor.
And you could always flip it.
And then they could actually rebound.
Yeah, if Celtics are actually going to be upset that you're putting Gordon Hayward at 3, you could flip it. No one will give a shit. No one will notice.
The point is he's going to Cleveland anyways. In the trade, that is.
Again, if that was offered, and you're not saying it was, but if that was offered, why wouldn't the Cavs take it?
Cavs would. I think they would.
If it wasn't already offered, why wouldn't they take it? That's a deal that I would take easily. I mean, getting rid of Chetty would be painful.
Yep.
I
but
wouldn't
you're
like
hoping
that
to
part.
get a pick 6 through 10 from that Grizzly team or unprotected in the future.
Exactly. That's the key right there. If you're asking me, would I trade Chetty Osman for that pick?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I would easily do Gordon Hayward for Kevin Love. You get out of that contract sooner. Gordon Hayward might not like Cleveland and then decline that player option. You're done with $32 million this year. That's insane. And then that allows you to take on bad contracts and picks, which allows you to rebuild this team and keep up that rebuild going. And it makes it easier to keep it going. I mean, look at what the Nets did. The Nets took on a bad contract in Timothy Mozgov and got D'Angelo Russell out of it. So, I mean, you can do that type of thing where teams are desperate.
Yeah.
Teams will always be desperate. So, absolutely, I'd take that deal. And the thing, too, is if Gordon Hayward finds his groove back, he gets trade value. And he has more trade value than Kevin Love because he plays a better position for wings. He does have injury concerns, but that was more of a freak injury concern rather than what K-Love has been dealing with, consistent nagging injuries. And he's younger.
Yeah.
So
if
that was
too sweet of a deal.
If that was an offered deal, Cleveland would have taken it. That's a phenomenal deal on Cleveland's end, and that's why I don't think they can try to find a trade partner because they don't. No one knows. We don't know. The media doesn't know. Whoever's writing these articles does not know what Kevin Love's actual trade value is, and I don't know if he can find that just because of his injuries. So in the grand scheme of things, I think Cleveland fans are going to be upset with what they get for Kevin Love because it will not be enough in their minds because we think of Kevin Love as this all-star. We think of Kevin Love as this stretch 4 who could knock down a hell of a ton of shots and could be a guy who gets 20 and 10 a night. And he can be that guy when healthy. And that is the biggest fucking asterisk for me. when healthy.
Yep. What's the best ability?
You're trading for You're trading for damaged goods. You're trading for a guy who has not been out there. I love Kevin Love. I hope All-Star Kevin Love comes back one year. But he, for 4 years, $120 million, is, in my mind, a bad deal. And I don't think you can find a trade value partner or a trade partner that will match up to people's trade value of Kevin Love.
What about a team like the Spurs? There's a team who Pop ain't going out like a loser. He 21 straight years of playoffs.
Say what you mean, Dave. Pop ain't going out like a bitch.
Yep. 21 straight years of playoff appearances. It's insane. It's fucking insane. I can't see a way that he wouldn't take a look at Kevin Love, because you're already running, LaMarcus Aldridge between the 4 and the 5, because Jakob Poeltl isn't the true 5 out there. You're already stretching DeRozan down to the 3 basically to make way so you can play DeJounte, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, Patty Mills, Bryn Forbes, Marco Bellinelli. Like, they have so much front court depth, and they've got a lot of depth as well in other positions. I mean, that's a team with young talent. You've just picked up Keldon Johnson and Luka this year. I think that they could move some younger pieces around, maybe a Damari Carroll, maybe a Trey Lyles. If you have to move that guy, Rudy Gay, not going to get a button press. Okay. I was hoping for the...
I was going to say, don't forget my trade from last week.
Pause.
I was hoping for a...
Pause.
Fucking Rudy Gay, man. Shit.
Thank you. They've got a wealth of those kind of mid-tier guys. They've got a bunch of young talent there, and they've got future picks. That's a team that could make a deal, because you could run out a fantastic starting lineup with DeJounte, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Love, and whoever they end up keeping, and that team's going to compete in the West. Like, too damn bad to the loaded West. You're the Spurs. You're going to win fucking games. That's what they do. That's all they ever do.
I don't know about the Spurs, though, because, the whole idea and the whole, upside of Kevin Love is the ability to shoot threes.
Yep.
And this is a team that doesn't take threes. They're very good at it.
They like players who shoot really well from 3, and they're the only ones allowed to shoot from 3. Nobody else gets to shoot threes. So you need that spot shoot. Bertrand's got taken away from you.
Yeah. What's the proposed deal? Is there one out there?
I'm legit making it up. Ricky's going to have to do some digging on this one.
Sure. I threw out my Colin Sexton one last week.
We're not splitting up Sexland.
The thing with that is
would DeMar be in the deal?
You might have to.
Okay.
I mean, you got to make contracts work. I wouldn't be opposed to that, because you have so many great guards. I mean, we talked about it with John last week. The idea of Quindary Weatherspoon playing very well and playing himself into this roster in the upcoming years. You have Patty Mills, who's going to be there for a little bit, and he's if not put in that deal, because he's worth $12.4 million. He could be a guy, definitely. But you have DeJounte Murray, who was a former all defensive NBA player, and if he is healthy, he's obviously going to take more steps in the right direction.
His offensive game was starting to look like it was going to be coming around.
Yeah, Derek White's offensive game did come around. He was fantastic last year. Marco Bellinelli is there for one more year, but he's still a good veteran piece. He's probably gone after this year, but he's still a decent guy right now. Bryn Forbes is a phenomenal outside shooter. He's a guy that's definitely in their plans. Lonnie Walker was a first-round pick last year. He's definitely valuable to this team. Keldon Johnson, a first-round pick as well. So I think the guys that could be moved in a deal for Kevin Love would be probably
a couple of those younger pieces for sure.
I'd say Luka, and I'd honestly try to do a DeMar DeRozan and Luka flip for K Love, because that way
with no picks, just the players.
Well, no, because I mean, who would be giving up the picks?
Well,
no, that's the thing is
the Spurs would be the ones. If picks are going, it'd go from the Spurs. That trade would work. It just couldn't happen until after July 31st.
I think the thing that I think the Spurs would have to the Cavs would have to do it, because the Cavs are giving up the deal of 4 years, 120, where the Cavs would be able to get out of that DeRozan contract most likely next year, because DeRozan's on a player op.
Yeah, he don't want to stay there.
He don't want to stay there.
I don't know how, depending on how well he plays, if he can actually earn more than that. This was one of his not great performance years.
It's $27 million, and if he's going to the Cavs, he's going to get the ball.
Yeah. But they got 2 point guards already.
But he can teach them how to be a point guard. I mean, you're teaching them how to actually play next to a real point guard. He did it in Toronto. So you're at least bringing a lot of veteran guard help to them, which could be a benefit. And the biggest benefit is that you're getting rid of $27 million. And then you get a player in Luka who they took in the first round. So they might not want to move off of him, right? They took him in the first. I'm not daydreaming that. They took him right after Goga, I think. They took Luka in the first, which they might want to not move away from. But I definitely think that could be a possibility for that. Maybe they move Pirtle and give him a center. But because if you're getting Pirtle, you'd move Aldridge to the 5 and Caleb to the 4. I think that could be a definitely possibility. But I think
the Spurs have enough, those pieces they could attach along to DeMar or in place of, they've got enough mid-range contracts. They've got options.
And the thing, too, if I'm the Cavs, I'd take a later first. I'd take like a 2023 first because there's no guarantee that Aldridge is a free agent in 2021. And he's not going to be there. K-Love might be there if I'm doing my math correctly, but if so, he's going to be older, and we don't know if he's going to be healthy.
Right.
And there's no future for sure star in this team.
Right.
Lonnie Walker has massively high potential.
And DeJounte.
Yeah,
and Derek White to continue.
And Spurs fans were like, DeJounte Murray's an all-NBA player if he was healthy. No, he's not. He does not have the offensive game. He's definitely all defensive player, but he's not an offensive monster to be.
It's funny because in college he was a much better offensive player than defensive player. But
he was Markelle Fultz before Fultz. He's actually good at basketball, though.
Oh, shit.
I think the Spurs could definitely be a team that would be interested. Are the Spurs a team to trade, though?
Everybody else is going wing heavy, and the Spurs are like, big counter guys. That shit, we're running bigs.
Big guys.
The only other two that I have either seen in articles or I could see making a possible move. The one that I've seen, and this was
Bulls.
like many of these were 4 weeks ago, where it was like before the Hassan Whiteside thing went down, where it was Portland. They could make a move for K-Love, but after bringing in Whiteside,
they still could. He's a 5.
I mean,
and you still need a 4 because Nurkic is there. Nurkic is injured, but he's
but when
Nurkic
Nurkic comes back, what
that's
do you do?
true.
Like that's the whole thing. What do you do when he comes back?
You trade Hassan Whiteside for Kevin Love.
I thought about it, but I don't know if Cleveland would do that.
He's
a contract win.
Exactly. Whiteside's off the books after this year. So that's
the
why
one I'm going to throw out there, and I don't know if I would do it because I still have faith in this player. I don't even know if you would include a pick from the team, the West Coast team.
Piqued my interest.
The Nuggets get K-Love.
No.
For Millsap and Michael Porter.
What? What is you with Cleveland trades? Did you propose that?
That's one that I'm just like.
Who proposed that?
Here's the thing. This is a me thing.
Okay.
And here's the deep. Like, no. Hear me out.
I'm listening. I just have my head down in shame.
It's not the. Like,
I'm shaking my damn head.
The Michael Porter part is not like a linchpin. If you are Denver,
are you using that word correctly?
Yeah, like he's not the one where if you pull it out, the whole trade falls. Right. To me, it's Paul Millsap because if I'm Cleveland. Give me the guy who's done at the end of the year, and you get that cap release. If you're the Nuggets, though, and you're going to try to make that trade to get K-Love instead of Millsap, who would you try to give up to sweeten the deal for Cleveland? Because they love Millsap trade, wouldn't go. And Michael Porter Jr., is he going to fit the timeline of the Nuggets? And this way you compare K-Love and Jokic's contracts up together.
I understand what you're saying. And I'm sorry I had that reaction because
it's just a team you adore.
I also
it's like when you said the Bulls, I just ignored it.
No. I also said Luka Samanic for the Spurs, who was a first-round pick as well. People could criticize me for being a hypocrite, being like, well, Luka and Michael Porter Jr. both went in the teens. They both could provide value. Here's where they're wrong. Luka Samanic went 19 in a very, very weak draft. Michael Porter Jr. would have been a top 5 pick if he was healthy in that draft. And that wasn't just a draft.
Yeah.
That is the best draft I've ever seen in my life. That draft already has 2 superstars and it's been a year. So you can't just give up on Michael Porter Jr. And I'm not saying you are saying they're giving up on him. They're trying to add a piece. But I think they are in such a great spot with Paul Millsap being up because then you're going to have the ability to go out and get more free agents that are going to fit this timeline. Denver is getting a gift that Paul Millsap's up after this year. He's valuable right now still. He'll be valuable this year, but he'll also give you so much cap relief next year that it's insane. And going out and getting K-Love and locking yourself up would be so dumb. And I think Cleveland would need to be the team giving up something there instead of Denver giving up something because Denver's doing them a favor by taking that K-Love trade. And I was going to jokingly say, I'm legally obligated to bring up Denver in a trade talk, but I don't see a deal being made that would benefit them. Because, yes, I think he fits their idea of having Jokic be there and having players on the outside. And K-Love can pass, too, which would move the ball around. But the idea of trading a possible superstar and a guy that Denver absolutely loves in Michael Porter Jr. for Kevin Love, who's not even a guarantee to be healthy, is extremely worrying. And people are already typing, you're saying that Michael Porter Jr. is a guarantee to stay healthy? No. But I'd rather take my shot at the cheap, inexpensive, younger talent in Michael Porter Jr. than the older, more expensive, possibly rotting out version of Kevin Love. I love the guy. I love Kevin Love. And I know I'm using harsh words and rotting, but the guy's he only played 22 games last year. And I don't have faith that he's going to be healthy. So, no, I would not do Michael Porter Jr. in that deal. Absolutely not.
How about we go back
The
to where it
Bulls.
all started?
Ooh.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yes.
Kevin Love.
Yes. Yes.
Does this solve all of the problems for the Wolves? No.
Where's Anthony Bennett? Trade Anthony Bennett to the Timberwolves.
Anthony Bennett,
Send
I
him back.
believe, is still playing in Europe?
No, Rockets. He just signed a 10-year,
Oh, you're right.
10-day deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
it's
something like
a
that.
10-year. I was like,
10-day
oh my
deal.
God.
It's a hockey
It wasn't a
type
10-day
deal.
deal, but I think it was a non-guaranteed.
You're right. You're absolutely right. He did sign a deal with them. I forgot. I read that a couple days ago on Reddit. But yeah, Wiggins, Kevin Love, do it over, bring him back. It's a win-win deal. I mean, you think about it. You solve one problem in the fact that Kevin Love's contract is it's not great. It's not great, but at least he contributes at a fairly efficient rate when healthy. And imagine how much better offensively he'll look playing next to Karl Anthony Towns, Robert Covington, and Jeff Teague. But I mean, it solves their spacing issues. It gives them someone who can actually rebound well next to Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, yeah, they're still allergic to playing inside defense, but you might as well shoot lights out if you're going to go all in like this.
Yeah.
And they've got a bunch of young pieces they could move around if they have to. Like, I don't know who has to give up what. Like, what else the Timberwolves have to throw into this deal? And I know that sounds salty because, like, Wiggins is the younger player who has, upside. But Kevin Love actually, like, can win you games. Andrew Wiggins can't unless you're against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is we're gonna need to get Tyus Jones back.
Oh.
Or what was it? No. Okay. So we have to. Actually, Chetty's there.
Yeah.
So Chetty was selected by the T-Wolves, but then traded to Cleveland, I believe. I'm trying to figure out where this Cleveland pick went. It apparently went to the Sixers, but it isn't demarked here where they picked. So we either have to get Ja back and get him in this deal, but it was K-Love to Cleveland. The Timberwolves got Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett. So obviously we know where Wiggins is. Wiggins is already in T-Land, Minnesota. We got to get Anthony Bennett back from the Rockets. Thad Young, unfortunately, is going to Minnesota in this deal.
Okay.
But he has to get traded back to Philadelphia before. And then the Sixers need to assign Luke Mbamute.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's available.
And yeah, he's available.
He didn't play all last year, basically.
And Alexei Shved, who's currently in Russia, needs to be signed by Minnesota.
Okay.
And then the 2015 first round pick from Cleveland, we need to find that.
We lost it, and we cannot find it.
Because that was also in the deal. But it needs to be the 21st pick, not the player that they actually picked.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, we can make that deal happen.
I think
Just bring it back.
I
Roll
think
it back. Run it back, baby.
Run it back.
Run it back. Yeah. Shout out Thad Young. I don't know. If Minnesota gets a more usable player,
Yep.
in Kevin Love,
Yeah.
yes, they're not going to sign anybody, right? So they're not using that contract for anything. They just don't have Andrew Wiggins, which is good.
Yeah.
What does Wiggins bring to that team though in the Cavs?
Hope. There's hope that he will get better. He's still young.
They're both on 4-year deals.
Isn't he like 24?
Yeah.
25? He's
no,
old now.
he's not 25.
He might be.
No, he's got to be like 23, 24.
He's 24.
There you go.
He's going to turn 25 in February.
All right, so it wasn't that
at
off.
the end of the season.
It wasn't that off.
Basically the end
By
of the
the
season.
trade deadline. If he's traded on February 14th, it's 9 days till his birthday, brother.
Still 24.
I don't know. I just don't see how it works out for the Cavs. Like, I mean, You take anything. No, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, think about it. Like, they get to play with more upside. They're not worried about contracts anytime soon.
But why did we go from Wiggins being... Are we just putting Wiggins anywhere now?
Yeah.
In any trade deal? Because we were like, you get Westbrook for him. Westbrook's much better than Kevin Love. So how have we gone from Wiggins to Westbrook to Kevin Love?
It was picks attached to that Westbrook deal. Like, you had to give up several first-round picks to get Westbrook. You don't have to do that with Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it's several. I think you're good pretty much Wiggins and Love almost straight
you
up.
are. Because you don't have to do anybody a favor contract-wise.
Yeah, no.
It's just the youth. But you're really trading more for fit at that point because Minnesota, you're trying to go for a playoff run.
Absolutely.
Where
you got one of the most
Wiggins,
efficient offensive big men in the NBA ever.
Yeah, Wiggins gets a fresh
and
start.
And Wiggins gets all those damn touches.
Yeah.
Those dirty, inefficient touches.
All of these just make me think.
Try to say it that way.
All of these, to just wrap up this segment, all of these teams getting thrown out there just make me think, no.
So Love's just going to chill out the rest of his career in Cleveland?
I think so. I think he's a casualty.
At least this year.
He's making $120 million. Sorry, buddy.
I still don't understand why they gave him that contract. Why did they give him that deal?
To be
I don't
nice.
blame him for taking it. Why did they give it to him?
No, because they had to sign him to offer to strengthen their deal for LeBron.
To keep LeBron?
Yeah, so I thought they had to extend him to be like, see, we'll have Kevin here for a long time.
I swear that was after, for
Kevin
some reason.
will be your boy. No, I think it happened the same year. I think he signed that deal like right when, I think it was the same offseason. So they needed to sign that for him to even stay, or for LeBron to even stay, or at least that was their thought. I could find it because I was just on his
I just want to
page.
find like the timeline of that because for some reason I felt like it like happened after.
No.
For like no good reason.
It might have it kicked in this year, so that might be what you're thinking of. It's somewhere on the. No, it's not. Okay.
July 24th, 2018.
Yeah, so that was after.
See?
They agreed to it then?
That was Woj's tweet.
Oof.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was
it's a bad deal.
after.
The last thing I am gonna say is
wait, because you guys did a segment on that, and I wasn't here because I took a vacation after free agency.
That was
Fuck.
I think Pat was on that one, wasn't he?
Might have been.
I think Pat was on that one.
I was in
because he
Nashville.
bashed it.
And the answer is clear. Cleveland is building a future on Kevin Love as its centerpiece.
So I'm going to end on this one, and usually I don't like to throw other guys that we don't know under the bus.
Yeah.
But Tony Pesta of hoopshabit.com.
I'm sorry, what? His name is Tony
Pesta.
Pesta.
P-E-S.
Like pesto
T-A.
sauce.
P-E-S-T-A.
Let's hear this guy. Pesto.
Caleb to the Warriors
Oh, God.
for D'Lo.
Oh, God.
I don't do that deal
so
for the Warriors.
here's what he wrote in the article.
What? What'd you write? Pesto sauce.
Though a deal can't be completed until December 15th,
No, it can't be.
trade rumors have already begun for D'Lo. One potential trade that satisfies both parties is a straight-up deal for Kevin Love. In this exchange, the Warriors get a star forward that can shoot from deep at an efficient rate.
Yep.
Love fits much better with this lineup, giving the Dubs the ability to play small ball with Draymond Green or Love at the center. Furthermore, the Warriors gain a player with championship experience to help them compete immediately rather than in the future. Here's my thing, though, and my little thing, and usually I am all for ridiculous trades. How does this help you re-sign Draymond, though? Because you're going to take on $28 million and then have to re-sign Draymond?
I mean, he's still
Like
under bird rights.
You'll go into the luxury tax where it's like...
Yeah, I don't care about that.
To me,
why, other stadium.
This is like a poor man's attempt to roll it back because there was that Kevin Love for Klay Thompson rumor a couple years back, if you guys remember, prior to championships.
Yeah.
When it was like, look, that deal was on the table, and everybody's like, oh, that could work out really well for the Warriors, and they're like, no, I think we're gonna keep Klay Thompson on this team. I think we're good with that.
My boy Pesta Sauce, he didn't really miss any marks because what he said is true.
I just don't see it happening.
Is Kevin Love a forward?
Yes.
Has he been a all-star before?
Yep.
Yes. Is he efficient at three? Yes, we laid that out. 37%. That's above the average. Can he shoot from three? Yes. He takes 4.4 a game. That's
pretty good for a 4.
That is shooting from three. Yep. And I don't like throwing people under the bus either besides you because you're an idiot.
Yeah. You just know me in person, too.
Yeah. I mean, you could punch me in the face if you want to, but we're best friends off camera.
Yep.
Sorry, Dave. You had to figure out this way. But the idea of a team that just ended their dynasty because of what?
Injury.
Because of injuries. Them trading that piece for a guy who we just talked about for 30 minutes.
Dynasty's not over, by the way. It's just taking a pause.
Yeah, being injured to add that is so short-sighted it is not even funny. Because the second you make that deal, the second you move away from any other future championships after this year, because then you're worried about, well, what if Steph goes down? Oh, well, then it's a Clay Draymond team. Then yikes, that's not going to do well. Oh, Kevin Love's down. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's a it's a Clay and Draymond team already. Oh, wait, Clay's still recovering from his ACL tear? Fuck
it's
me.
Draymond.
It's Draymond only.
Also, how many
that
point
could
guards,
happen and probably will happen.
How many point guards did Cleveland have then? 3. They'd have Sexton, Garland, and D'Lo running the point.
hey.
One's all-star.
You're not going to, what's the fucking wing guards you take? Take as many shots, baby.
Yeah.
You know? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so take 3. Yeah. Jesus, that's, shut up. We should have him on the podcast.
Tony Pesta.
Yeah, have him on the podcast. We should have you and him just throw out trade talks, trade rumors the whole time. Let us know if Kevin Love will, the Cavs will find a trade partner for Kevin Love. Maybe I'll find the ability to speak as well in transition from the next topic to this. But let us know down in the comments if you think the Cavs will find a trade partner for Kevin Love and what will they have to give up? Because maybe you could throw out some teams, but what will the trade look like? Because that's the hardest thing that I have to find. But let us know what you have down in the comments below. But let's move it to the next topic and the final topic of the Fast Break podcast. We are talking about should the Raptors trade Kyle Lowry here on the Fast Break podcast. And before we jump into that, if you're sick of looking at that damn thing on this podcast, this is a big, bulky thing for all our audio listeners. You can check out patreon.com/podcast. If you want to help support us, check out patreon.com/podcast. You can be on a podcast and donate $10 donate $10 a month, and you could join the podcast and give us your thoughts, or you can join the $5 and give us a topic idea, or you can join at the $1 tier and talk to us on the Discord. Also, our boy Ice Trey in the Discord changed his name. Thought he was a different person. He's now Giannis Stan, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't know that. But shout out to Ice Trey and also Giannis in the Discord. Also shout out to Charlie, Jake, John, Sam, and Pat, obviously, our buddy Pat. There's more guys active in there. I can't think of them now. Dave and Ricky are active in it, and I am too.
All the time.
Mark is as well. But anyways, let's jump into the actual topic, and it's should the Raptors trade Kyle Lowry? Right now, Lowry obviously coming off a NBA final win with the Toronto Raptors, being there for so long, being a part of this franchise. It would be tough for Raptors fans to see him traded. And there is no rumors out there being traded, but we talked about this, I think it was after Kawhi Leonard signed, and talking about pretty much the situation that they would be in once, Kawhi is gone and what they're going to be looking at. And what they're looking at right now is a 33-year-old that's getting paid $33.2 million. And to face the facts, you lost your best player in Kawhi Leonard. You obviously know that. And this team is not in that situation that they were last year. They are not a top of the East. They are not a powerhouse in the East anymore. They can definitely still be a playoff team, but I think you have to ask the question, should the Raptors look into trading Kyle Lowry? Because he still has valuable, parts to his game. He obviously still had a fantastic finals. You look at the resurgence that he had, scoring like the first 16 points or whatever it was.
He's playing through a thumb injury, too.
He's played through a thumb injury, but he also had those first 16 points, too, to start off that game. Like, he got hot. He was a very valuable asset to that team. It wasn't just Kawhi. And having that veteran leadership, having his abilities right now for 1 year could be very valuable to some of these playoff teams. You have to look into it, and maybe you don't because he is a franchise leader and has been there for so long, but maybe you do to really kickstart the rebuild of this team and the re-imaging of this team. So I'm going to finally end my question. Should the Raptors trade Kyle Lowry, Dave?
No. He means too much to the city. You already gave up your child, basically, in DeMar DeRozan. You sold him for a championship. Good deal. No one's going to argue with that. That worked out great for everybody involved except DeMar DeRozan. But I don't give up on Kyle Lowry. I just think that they're in a position where they can eat his last year of contract, pay him that $34 million, and that's fine. And if he wants to come back on a sweetheart deal, sure. But in reality, this team is all about Pascal Siakam and seeing what he can do and how much better he can get than already most improved player from last year. Is he going to be a superstar on his own? I don't know. Is OG Anunoby going to be healthy and be able to take a step forward? Maybe. We'll see. But this is a team with low expectations. Like you said, it's a playoff team. Sure. Absolutely. But do I expect Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, and Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet to take them to the championship again? No. Sorry, you just don't have the talent. I don't know that you have to move on this year because it's just, what's the value for someone of his age with that much money on the line this year? That's my problem. Is like, you got to move a lot of contract to get him on your team for half a season.
That's true, but that doesn't mean you have to give up a ton. You don't have to give up a lot of capital to get him. You just have to really get rid of that contract. So if you have a bad contract, that's definitely doable. And if I'm looking at, let's say, the Detroit Pistons, a team that's obviously in their conference, why would they trade him to that team? But just throw out there,
because Dwayne Casey wants him back, and you're still buddies.
And you can get an upgrade at point guard, and that could help out Blake Griffin. Trading Reggie Jackson's $18 million would not kill you. Trading, Langston Galloway's $7 million would not kill you. It doesn't match up exactly, but you could definitely find money somewhere else.
Because we're greedy.
No, fuck no. Don't do that. That would be stupid.
We already have Pascal Siakam.
Dumb.
We want Sekou Demboya.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But you can find ways around it, or Tony Snell. You can offer Tony Snell and Reggie Jackson. That probably gets to it. And you upgrade your point guard position for that playoff run. And maybe you don't win an NBA title as the Pistons, but you at least upgrade your position. If you're looking to upgrade your team, that's what you can do at a very low cost. Both of those guys, Galloway and Reggie Jackson, are expiring deals too. So you're not really losing out on anything. You're just improving your team. Yeah. Now, the question would be, why would the Raptors do it? And that's where the picks would have to come in there. And then the Raptors can look at it and think, hey, we're getting rid of Kyle Lowry, but we still have the possibility of getting him back if he wants to resign. It doesn't take him away from resigning. So that's why I think they should. Ricky, I know we usually go, Dave, you, me. Ooh, fuck the system.
Yeah.
I think they should. I've talked about this before. He does mean a lot to this Toronto Raptor franchise.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And they did trade DeMar DeRozan, and trading Kyle Lowry would be huge because,
that closes a chapter of your life.
It really does. But you need to move on at some point. And I'm saying move on from the fact of restarting a new chapter and rewriting the books. And that doesn't mean you have to write Kyle Lowry out of your life, but you need to reevaluate where you are. And right now where you are is not a championship contender. And you're not going to be that no matter what moves you make. And what you need to do is start a youth movement on this team and start turning this thing around. And you talked about it. You had the most improved player in Pascal Siakam on your team. And you do need to build around him. And you need to do that with younger players. And Siakam isn't young. He isn't like 20, but he is fairly young enough. And he's definitely in that age to build around.
Yep.
And you do have really nice pieces on this team. OG Anunoby had a down year last year, but that doesn't mean he's talentless. He's definitely a guy with talent that could have another upside year. You look at Pat McCaw. He's definitely a younger guy with three rings, but he's still a guy that possibly could show you something in a larger role.
Fred
VanVleet, but we'll get to him.
Okay.
Norm Powell's fairly young as well. He's a decent asset right now. And you also have some guys that don't have that much time under their belt, but could be something interesting, like Chris Boucher from Oregon, who had a really nice summer camp. And you look at those guys as your young players. There's not a lot there to build around Pascal Siakam, so you need to get some of these players off to start a youth movement. And that's why I'm looking at trading Kyle Lowry to a team that could possibly give you an upgrade and possibly give you picks down the line to maybe not take players at those positions, but to move up and possibly get a higher pick. Because this team can draft. This team drafted DeMar DeRozan. This team drafted Pascal Siakam. This team drafted OG Anunoby. This team drafted Fred VanVleet. This team drafted Norm Powell. They also were able to find Jakob Poeltl, who at that point wasn't great, but you got Kawhi Leonard, so obviously he had some value. So I would look at this team, and I think that with what Masai Ujiri has been able to do throughout his tenure, I would want to be able to get those draft picks and those draft capitals. So guys on one-year expiring deals at prime positions like point guard, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, for sure. Guys at prime positions who could play that defense that Serge Ibaka can and possibly even shoot. He's got a decent stroke.
He's got a dirty mid-range.
He's not a great three-point shooter. He's serviceable.
Yep.
But if he's able to be serviceable and at the four position, playing that defense and being able to bring championship level experience, he'd be able to be a guy that you can move and get some assets for.
Yep.
Marc Gasol, same thing. Those are four guys right there that can all bring you back picks. And that is something to start a movement. And that's just giving Pascal Siakam the confidence and the A-okay and the seal of approval that a player needs to be able to move on and be able to take up that confidence. I think it would be absolutely dumb if they did not. Should they? Hell yes. They should move away from those 4 players.
Wow, that's cold.
And it is cold, but that's reality. You were able
You're
to do
like
it.
Danny Ainge over there.
I'm like Masai
loyalty.
Ujiri.
No loyalty.
I'm Masai Ujiri over here. This guy moved on from the face of Toronto into DeMar DeRozan.
Took the hometown deal.
You need to do it again. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle Lowry came back next year and took a hometown deal again because this guy knows that it's just business. Maybe he wouldn't because you traded his best friend, DeMar DeRozan, but you got him probably his new best friend in the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
There you go.
So I think that you're just starting a new chapter. And Kyle Lowry, if he comes back, he doesn't need to be your starting point guard, but he can be a bench player that can be serviceable for the rest of his career. But that doesn't mean you can't trade him this year. Doesn't mean everyone's going to look down upon if he comes back. People are going to understand the situation. People are going to understand that it's business. And people aren't going to write off his legacy because he got traded. People are probably going to improve his legacy because he was fine with doing that for the sacrifice of the team. That's the ultimate team move, is moving a different city. Mm-hmm. So I think that they should, because it's time to start a new chapter. If these players want to be a part of it next year, they should. But come trade deadline, if this team is not near the top of the Eastern Conference, I am definitely moving these players.
Ricky, where are you at on all this?
With me, it all comes back to a quote that I'm going to pull up here in a second.
You didn't have enough time earlier.
I did.
It's okay.
So it was, I'll just read it from the Bleacher Report article that I pulled up, where Lowry apparently potentially was on his way out with the Marc Gasol, Mike Conley deals. Where originally, according to Jake Fisher of Sports Illustrated, the Raptors point guard and Valanciunas was offered for Gasol and Mike Conley. To Tim Bontemps, he said this quote per Bontemps. It says, "I think they will make decisions for themselves and they'll do what's best for them. I think that's just how they work and they operate. They make moves and they make moves for the best of the organization. If they do something, that will be their feeling to whatever the organization thinks is best for them." And I know that Masai has said that he sees no issue with Kyle Lowry after those trade talk, like that comment and stuff, and said to the London Free Press that, I had a very good conversation with Kyle. I see no issues, honestly, with him. Zero. We're good. And I think his mind is focused on this run. And why do I bring this up? Kyle Lowry has a point. If this team isn't either competing or they find a deal where it's like, hey, we can't pass this up, they're going to do what's best for the Raptors. But at the same time, Masai's not going to hold it against Kyle Lowry for speaking out, because Masai knows that's the deal. Like, that's just how the business works. My only question is, what teams could possibly make a deal for Kyle Lowry? And is it something where it's a team that is in the running and you're just getting late draft picks, playoff draft picks? Mm-hmm. Or is there kind of something out there where it's like, hey, you're trying to dump a big contract for somebody who might be entering their prime, and if Masai Ujiri says, hey, you know what, I like that guy, let's roll the dice, he might make a move on that guy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a team that's in a position to contend, that is making a deal for him and getting a late pick. What team doesn't need a point guard? I mean, obviously, you could make an argument that the Lakers don't because they have LeBron James, but
and Rajon Rondo.
Who's better, Lowry or Rondo?
Lowry.
Okay. So
but
if
what are you
Rondo's
going to offer? You need to put $30 million in contract.
You asked what teams, David.
So
you asked what teams.
Teams and contract.
Okay.
The Lakers have no assets.
I'm saying you asked me what contending teams.
Yep.
I'm not saying what teams. You said what teams need him. I'm not saying what teams could do him.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Yes.
What teams need him and can make a deal work?
Well, apparently the Miami Heat can make any deal work.
That's
so
true.
The Miami Heat are one.
That's absolutely true.
Orlando Magic can.
I
Orlando
would love
Magic
to see that.
do not have a point guard, and I don't care if you say Markelle Fultz Magic fans. I
DJ
love you.
Augustine.
You guys have probably one of the best Twitter fan bases of all time.
Seriously.
Half of that's made up by Vagberg. I love that guy. But
all starters.
But those guys retweet me like crazy. I love them, and they love Fultz. I don't blame them. Fultz has me super hyped up.
Yep.
I love that guy.
Same
but he
as.
cannot shoot. And I know there's Instagram videos, but there's always been Instagram videos. There is no one that is in the Instagram hype train more than Markelle Fultz. Every single offseason,
Andrew
no
Wiggins.
matter what sports, there's always those guys that's like, oh, we got workout video. Oh, we got new pictures of their body.
Yep.
And then they come back and they suck. That is Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz is the king of just clickbait workout offseason videos.
Yep.
I don't care what sport it is. That is my number one pick of like overhyped offseason guys. I need to see it in one of the 82 games before I start putting my stock in Markelle Fultz.
Okay.
So right now, your point guards are Markelle Fultz, DJ Augustine, and Marcus Carter-Williams. None of those guys scream Kyle Lowry to me, right?
Yeah,
None of those guys scream playoff veterans outside of DJ Augustine, who went to Toronto and kicked their ass. They also then got swept in the next 4 games.
It's all right.
But none of those guys scream the level of Kyle Lowry's play. Then
I dig that, though.
you can add an Evan Fournier contract in there. Fournier, obviously making $17 million, is on the decline 3-point shooting percentage-wise. He's making $17 million. He's not a guy that I would lose my faint over. I don't know if these contracts match up, but Markelle Fultz is making $9.7 million. Fournier is making 17. So you add those two guys, boom.
That's almost close. Yeah.
It's almost close. I don't think you give up,
And that would
Aaron
be really
Gordon,
interesting.
but I think you can definitely find spots where you can add players to them. You can give up first round or two, and there you go. And you're trading them in conference, which isn't great, but
I would dig that, though, for the Magic.
You get
I think
an
that'd be
improvement at
awesome.
point guard.
They get one of the best veteran point guards in the NBA, and they're already an incredible defensive team. Their shooting gets a little worse, obviously, with Fournier out, but you hope that somebody else can take a step forward, You have the supernova of offense coming off the bench already. How much do you really have to worry about?
yeah, I mean, you gave Nikola Vucevic the contract of a guy who can provide offense.
He does.
You're hoping Aaron Gordon can take the next step to
Yeah.
become even better.
Yep.
Jonathan Isaac is going to get more time. You
Please,
think that
Jonathan
he's going to
Isaac.
take the next step. Mo Bamba is going to be hopefully more filled out, which is going to lead him to be more healthy, which will obviously just be an automatic improve for them. And you still have a really good 1-2 piece of DJ Augustine, Kyle Lowry. DJ Augustine as a bench guard is great. So I look at that team, and that team, if they're able to play defense, slow it down, they'd be great with that. Because you have Terrence Ross, who can provide that punch of speed. You have DJ Augustine, Kyle Lowry, who are great ball handlers, great facilitators. What am I looking for? Captains, leaders, floor generals.
Yeah.
They're great floor generals.
I cooled on the DJ Augustine floor general, but that's
Yeah, they're veteran point guards that know how to run offense.
Yep.
Wesley Iwundu, Melvin Frazier, those two guys are decent guys with length. They're nothing great, but they are good bench
but
pieces.
team wingspan, yeah.
Yeah, and even then, you're starting small forward's going to be Jonathan Isaac anyways, who you have a lot
Basically
invested
center.
into and can be phenomenal. Aaron Gordon's going to be your power forward, and we already talked about his hype and his level. He can be a guy that can speed it up and obviously shoot from the outside, and Vucevic is a guy that already plays fairly slow, does better in a slow offense. So
And he can distribute out of the low post.
I think the Magic makes sense. And again, I don't know what the Heat would give up, but they're probably in it. So those would be the two teams I think could probably make it work.
Now, for me, I honestly, I look at it and I agree with Dave where I don't know if there's a single playoff caliber team that could realistically look at a Kyle Lowry situation by the deadline and go, we can make it work. Obviously, if injuries happen, that might change something. But I've got 3 kind of mapped out. And the thing that I'm going to ask before I say them is for you with Kyle Lowry, if you're trading for him, is he going to be a 1 and that's it? Or could he also play the 2 in your mind? Could you slide him over to the 2 and not play him at the 1?
You could, but I like him better as a 1. I don't see his value because he's not like a deadly 3-point shooter.
Okay.
He's not a great he's not a good, quick enough defender to play.
He's a really good defender.
I think he's good enough to play 2s,
He's
though.
thick.
I asked.
He guarded 4s in the playoffs.
I
Maybe I'm
asked.
talking-
Kyle
maybe-
Lowry's booty. Think about the memes.
Maybe I am talking out of my ass on that one.
Yeah.
I asked
play the
because
2. Fuck it.
two of the trades I have
He's just short.
have
He is,
point guards that are
do you think?
established, or they have people playing the point guard offensively. The first one I don't see happening, but I'm going to throw it out there because Dave, we
Thank
have
you.
to throw out the Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
talk.
Bring it back to Canada.
So I've got
Canada Wiggins. It's a
bring
dream
them back
made in
to
heaven.
Canada. So the Raptors get Wiggins, and then they'd have to take on Georges Dieng, and the T-Wolves would
Not
get
Georges Dieng.
Georgie Dieng, right?
Gorgie.
Is it?
Gorgie
Gorgie.
Dieng.
Then,
I was like, Georges Niang is Sean's boy.
yeah. And then
You're close enough, Ricky.
Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell. That's Niang, not Dieng.
I know, but that's what
Yeah.
you said.
No, I said Dieng. But then
You got the last name.
the T-Wolves
kinda correct.
would get Lowry, and then they'd have to give up somebody like Norman Powell to make the contract work. That's one, too, where I'm like, with Powell for 3 years, would the Raptors want to give up Norman? And would the Raptors want to take on Andrew Wiggins?
The Raptors would not want to give up Norman Powell. Norman Powell is, I'm pretty sure, the vice prime minister there. I think I can make that up where people won't Google
Who's
it.
going to call you on that?
Yeah, I think that he's the vice president, prime minister to Justin Trudeau out there. No, I don't think they would want to give up Norman Powell. Is that the only team you got?
No, I got two more.
Give me the other team before I get
The
mine.
other two are the Mavericks would send. Now, the picks are unique here because of
because they gave them all up.
They gave them to the Knicks. But basically,
Go Knicks.
This is like kind of a cap dump, and then the picks would have to be the main part of whatever you want to work out here.
Right.
Kyle Lowry to the Mavericks, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee to the Raptors.
1,000,000,000%.
Where it's like one's a cap dump, the other one is a
If I'm a Mavericks fan, yes.
2 years. The only thing is the draft picks would be the main part of this, but I don't know if the Mavericks could get it done because they gave their 2021 and 2023 to the
I like the team. No, I don't see it working out. Just because Tim Hardaway and that, like, your whole point is getting young. In my mind, and then taking Tim Hardaway contract for 2 years is kind of killing that.
The last one's going bold.
Yes.
Phoenix.
I like this one too.
Kyle Lowry goes to Phoenix.
We were talking about contenders, so I didn't even look at them.
The Raptors
Devin Booker's a contender.
The Raptors get Tyler Johnson, who's up at the end of the year.
Top 10 player, Devin Booker.
So Tyler Johnson up at the end of the year. Mikal Bridges, who's a young player. Dario Saric, and then Eli Okubo. All for Kyle Lowry.
They empty the vault,
and
unfortunately.
then for the Suns,
Okubo,
Johnson. Saric, Johnson, and Mikal Bridges.
I think that's too much.
And the Suns give to make contracts work.
That's the problem.
I think you can cut Okubo then.
Unless you want me to cut Okubo and Saric and have it be Tyler Johnson, Aaron Baines, and Mikal Bridges. That would work also.
Deal.
Okay.
Yeah, they need to keep Saric. He's their starting four.
Yeah, Saric I like on the team. Okubo, you don't need to give him up if you're giving up that young guy. If you're giving up Bridges.
LaQ.
So Johnson, Bridges, and Baines.
You can give Jalen.
Johnson, Bridges, and Baines would work after September 4th.
Johnson, Bridges, Baines.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For Kyle Lowry.
Baines is how many years left?
Baines is 1 year.
It's a 1 year deal, yeah.
So
Baines and
two
Johnson.
expirings and Bridges?
Yeah, and then whatever picks you want to add in.
No, you don't have to. That's good. That's perfect.
You don't think they need to add in
I think, honestly,
anyone?
Bridges might be too much.
Okay.
He did play really well
because
last year.
Because December 4th?
September.
Yeah,
because of Baines.
I don't know if they're in a push mode right now, and he is I think
this is a trade deadline deal to me, anywaes. And if the Suns, Suns are pushing for maybe an 8 seed,
but will they be?
No.
So
but, what if?
No, I know. I know. But that's what I'm saying is I don't. Yeah, they have Rubio too. I don't see it working out because they have Rubio. So then
that's why I asked the point guard thing. And
but Booker would play the two.
Could it fit in, or you have Kyle Lowry lead the second unit?
No.
Or have him out there for defensive assignments. The Mavericks and Suns is why I asked that point guard question.
the Mavericks and the Suns as ideas.
Who's the Mavericks pushing out?
Well, because Luka's running the point. Like Luka and Brunson are your.
He's a two guard.
Luka and Brunson are
Brunson.
Brunson are your. Are your point guards? Are your guys that can handle the ball?
You are such a Chicagoan.
I am.
Oh my god. I don't know what it is about the city. Nobody can pronounce last names.
No.
Oh my god. There was a thing that I was hearing, and this guy said Nick Castellanos, and he's like, "Am I saying that right?" And it's like, "No, it's Castellanos." And then he was like, "Yeah, Castellanos." And the guy's like, "Sounds good."
I just give up after some point.
Yeah.
What about a
Trubinsky too? No, I'm not off this last name thing. Learn how to say last name Chicago.
Trubisky.
Here are the three teams that I came up with. This one's a definite no, but I'm throwing it out there anyways because fuck it. The Bucks.
Because Eric Bledsoe chokes in the playoffs?
Eric Bledsoe sucks, and he's got a long-ass deal.
Yep.
But more so, you have a lot of money there in Bledsoe and Hill.
You do.
And maybe you can just combine that to...
What's Hill's contract?
Hill's 3 years, $30 million.
Oh, yeah, he got paid because he can shoot.
Yeah, I like the fit of it. I just don't see it working out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who they're going to give up. that would be attractive to Toronto. Their
Right.
only expiring deals are Pat Connaughton, Kyle Korver, and Luke May, which none of those are like, yay. I don't think they were able to make contract work, but I like him better than Bledsoe
Or no?
for that team.
Who's the young guard on that team?
DiVincenzo.
Is DiVincenzo?
Yeah, you're right.
I thought so. For
So I
some
didn't
reason, I'm
correct you.
questioning myself.
No, that's why I didn't correct you. But he's not making enough money to make contracts work. That was a big question that you were asking. Here's the one team that I do like for them.
Please be the same one that I'm just circling on my end.
Kangs?
No.
I thought about the
Go
Kings.
for it.
Harrison Barnes, I don't know why I paid him that much money. It is backloaded, which is good for them. But you can add him, and I know De'Aaron Fox is their point guard, and you have Bogey and you have Buddy Hield playing that too. But you bring veteran leadership. I think this team does have talent to possibly make a push.
Yep.
And also, I mean, Harrison Barnes isn't killing. I mean, like, do we need Harrison Barnes on this team, people? I don't know if Toronto would want him, but if you throw in a first there, and then you could probably move Hield or Bogey to the 3, and then you could roll out a lineup of Fox, Lowry, Hield, Bagley, and Dedmon, and I think that would work out. I think that, and then you have Bogey coming off the bench, Corey Joseph coming off the bench, Yogi Ferrell coming off the bench, Trevor Ariza coming off the bench, Bielitsa coming off the bench, Rashawn Holmes coming off the bench, Harry Giles coming off the bench.
My boy.
I like it.
That team would be interesting. I don't know that I necessarily want to take away touches from De'Aaron Fox, but having a mentor like Kyle Lowry would be fantastic.
I don't think he
for
takes
him.
up too much touches, though, because he's still going to be the main ball handler. So it's really just fitting him into that offense, because Kyle Lowry doesn't need like the ball to be great.
True.
True. Who's the team you're thinking of?
76ers. It's a no dumb moment.
I thought
they
about
wanted
him, too.
him already.
Yeah.
Like-
they had him already.
Yeah.
He's a former Sixer.
What?
Yeah, you don't remember that? He was a pre-tanker.
Wow.
He was an Iggy.
Oh, that's way back.
He
Yeah.
was drafted by him. He was an Iggy guy.
God.
Kyle Lowry
I knew they had an attachment to him. I couldn't remember why, but that makes perfect sense.
Kyle Lowry is like literally and they didn't draft him. I'm sorry, Memphis
Thank
drafted
you.
him.
Yeah.
When did they have him? Did they not have him? They didn't have him.
Thank you.
Kyle Lowry wasn't
I thought I
a
was gonna be
Sixer.
crazy.
I thought he was. Is he from Philly? Yeah, he went to Nova. That's why. I thought he was a Sixer. Anyways, he was a Grizzly Rocket and Toronto Raptor. What do they give up, though?
It's got to be a 3-team deal. You're moving your young bench talent out, likely to like a team like the Grizzlies.
Like who? Give us names.
I'm just gonna say the Grizzlies are gonna
No.
take up.
Who's the young bench talent? Who's the young bench talent?
I hate you guys.
Who's the young bench
I'm
talent for the
looking.
Sixers? Oh, I thought you were saying the Sixers need to give up young bench.
They're gonna have to give up like a combination of Zaire, Shake, Shayok, Matisse, somewhat, Jonah Bolden.
I've been working it out. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work unless you add a third team.
That's
Yeah,
what
so
I
it's
said.
a
Yeah,
third team.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got the Grizzlies eating
Oh, okay.
Grizzlies or
I've
the
got a different
Hornets
third team.
or one of them dumpster teams. I love the Grizzlies. No, I mean like standings wise. I love the Grizzlies. Ricky will acknowledge. I'm all about the Team J. You got
Team
John
J.
Morant. You got
I just like
Jaren
you describing
Jackson
the
Jr.,
Hornets.
Drayson
as a dumpster
Jalen.
team.
you got Jason
Drayson Jalen.
and Jandon Jark and Josh Jackson
No nutritionist.
and
though.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Ja would have loved your dinner tonight, the chili cheeseburger.
Yeah, it would have been all over Twitter. But yeah, no, I think that bringing in a hometown kid like Kyle Lowry to Philly, moving those young pieces out, somehow it's going to work magically with contracts. I don't fucking know how. Don't bug me.
I got one.
But
I got
that's
a
gonna work.
3-team that brings
All right.
Kyle Lowry to the Sixers.
You're ending this on this, Ricky.
I don't
on
want
this,
to end
on
on
this
this.
beautiful high note.
Is it a bad deal?
I don't know. Well,
You're saying
be the
yep?
judge. It probably is because you're trading away someone that you just re-signed.
You're voting yep. I'm voting yep. They're voting yep. Ricky, let's go.
So the Sixers are going to get Kyle Lowry and DeMontis Sabonis.
Go Bears.
Pacers get Al Horford. Raptors get Shake Milton, Josh Richardson, T.J. Warren, Doug McDermott, and Aid Johnson from Elise Johnson because he's $1.4 million and he's needed to make the salaries work. That's what you have
you're
to
done?
do. Like that's what you have to do to make it work to Philly.
Giles Janderson, Jalen Jooks, Juno. I'm ignoring that suggestion. Jay Drowder,
It's the only thing I
Jyler
can think
Dorsey, Justin Joliday, Joey Joward, Jandre Drigadala, Josh Jackson,
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson,
Yep.
Jaius Jones,
Yep.
Gianthony Jelton, Joakim Joa, Giles Jumley, Jivan Job,
So you're just going through the Grizzlies.
Juta Jatanabe, and Jyler Jeller. Thanks for trying, Ricky. We love you.
Hey, it's
we love you.
It's after Dave said the Sixers. I'm like, how do I make it work?
No, you didn't.
And then I'm like, a 3-team deal, and the only 3 teams in the East probably wouldn't work. But if you're the Pacers, bring in a guy like Al Horford, and then the Sixers go young with Domantas Sabonis. I'm trying to make it work, which it won't happen.
Ricky, I absolutely applaud you for trying. I definitely
A+ for effort.
Exactly.
I didn't give it.
You might not hit it every time, but goddamn,
He's the Wayne Gretzky of the show.
you try your ass off.
He takes the shots.
He does. He takes so many shots. If there was a hustle award, we'd give it out to you.
Yes.
Man, you try. I think, unfortunately, though, we're going to have to block Trade Machine on your computer. The battery died on our camera. That's the way this podcast is going to go. We got here 3 hours ago. Shouldn't have been this long to
We've been
record.
here for 6 hours.
But we did it. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think about Kyle Lowry. I think they should trade him. They might not find a partner, but they should trade him. Dave, you think they should?
I think they should keep him.
Keep him?
Loyalty.
Ricky, keep him or trade him?
Trade him if the price is right, trade him at the trade deadline.
I don't care what the price is. Move him. Get a first rounder. As long as you're not giving up things.
You're
means
selling
price.
him. You're selling Marc Gasol. You're selling Serge
Yeah, sell the
Ibaka.
team, baby. Sell the team.
Fire
Sell the team.
sale.
It's so
You know who might give them some value? I hear the Knicks are looking for a star, and if I remember right, the Raptors made a deal with the Knicks in the past for a pretty good first round talent, right?
Andre Bargnani?
That Bargnani guy.
Yeah, Bargnani guy. Was he? You got to look up if he was a free agent. He might have been a free agent. Oh boy, the Knicks. Oh man. They signed 9 power forwards, I think. 9 power forwards. There's got KD, Kyrie. Which one of you said KD and Kyrie were going to the Knicks?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
I did.
How does Julius Randle, Taj Gibson, Marcus Morris, and I think Bobby Portis sound?
I am banking on the fact that I was half right. I knew they were going
How
to
are you half right? None of those players were Kyrie or KD.
No, they both went to New York, just the wrong team.
All right. That's a better
Bargnani was the
answer.
trade. by the
Go.
way.
What?
Bargnani was the trade.
What'd they give up?
Marcus
Landry
Camby,
Fields?
Steve Novak, their 2016 first round pick, 2 future second round picks.
Tell me how Landry Fields got to Toronto. This is a waste of a segment, pretty much. I'm kidding. No, it wasn't. But the end of it's a waste of a segment. Tell me how Landry Fields got to Toronto.
Ricky's on it.
All right, cool.
Landry
You guys remember the
Fields.
Landry Fields?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a.
I do.
How we got to Toronto?
Yeah, because he started off as a Knick and then went to Toronto.
On July 11th, 2012, he received a 3-year, $20 million offer sheet from the Raptors.
And the Knicks didn't match
The
it?
Knicks declined to match it. And he signed with the Raptors
The
on
Knicks
July
made a
15th.
smart move. The Landry Fields move. That's iconic.
After his
Hanging in the
impressive stint with
rafters.
the Knicks, the Raptors expected big things from Landry as he continued to develop. However, he struggled in Toronto, partially due to injuries, and he played just 81 games in his first 2 seasons.
And we give James Anthony Dolan, I don't know if that's his middle name, James Anthony Dolan shit, and he declined to match Landry Fields' offer sheet? And that dude was on the rookie versus sophomore teams when it was sponsored by Sprint or Sprite or one of them.
James Lawrence Dolan.
James Lawrence. That's great. Anyways, tell us your middle name down in the comments below. And let us know if Kyle Lowry should be traded. We got a should, we got a the price is right, we got a no. So let us know down in the comments what you think the Toronto Raptors should do when it comes to Kyle Lowry. But that will do it for the Fast Break Podcast. Please check us out on patreon.com/mostofapodcast if you want to find out our middle names and be on a podcast at the $10 tier or join our Discord at the $1 tier. But for Dave, Roy Oster,
Yeah.
and Ricky
Haha.
Richard
No.
Widmer.
No,
Edmund.
it's not double.
Edmund wasn't
I
going to
was
guess
going to
it.
let him guess it.
I wasn't going to guess it. I was going to go Anthony. But that's more Italian than Polish.
I mean, my dad's middle name starts with an A, but it's not
Alan.
Anthony.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's Raw, and I'm Rewind. R-E-W.
Oh, nice. I'm SWAT. I'm a T.
SWAT.
I'm a T away from SWAT.
I'm Dr. O.
Dr. Oh, shit. It's Fast Break Podcast. We'll see you next week.